Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited during this month of July, our month of independence. Folks, this is the first time that the podcast is both auditory and visual. So we are so excited that you all are here with us. I am your host, Carmelita Turner, here on the Realest Realtor podcast. As you know, this is where we connect real people with real facts about how they can gain financial freedom through real estate. And if you happen to be listening to the podcast on Anchor or Spotify, and you would like to head on over and view this episode as well, make sure that you subscribe and ring that notification bell for us on our YouTube channel, which is called Carmelita. All the information is in the description of this podcast so that you're able to find us over there on YouTube, but it is called Carmelita, all spelled out, because I want you to pick up that phone and call Carmelita. Like Harriet Tubman, it is my goal to put at least 300 plus Black families in a position of ownership, not just of their primary sanctuary, but of multiple investment properties, because we know the greatest investment on earth is dirt. So please make sure that you connect with me. I am a realtor in the entire state of Virginia, the entire state of Maryland, and I can help you in the District of Columbia and nationally. All right. I'm excited about our first episode of July. Today, I have a phenomenal guest on with us who is going to talk to us about a very vital health benefit that many of you, I think, have probably heard of. You may not have known a lot about it. However, the good news is that here at the Realest Realtor podcast, we know that our true wealth is our health. And we, on Juneteenth, launched an initiative to make sure that we are bringing more Black producers and business owners to the format so that more people are able to hear the vital information that they have to share and able to connect with them outside of the podcast. So we are so honored to be able to bring to you today our guest, Karl Grant, who is an accomplished herbalist. Over 20 plus years, he has been training, perfecting his craft, and he is going to talk with us today about a very important powder, like I said, that many of you may have heard of, may not have had the opportunity to understand it fully or even try it. I'm going to share some good insight because I have now been using it for 3 days. So Karl is here to talk with us about his company. He's the CEO and founder of moringamagic.net, and we will make sure that that information is available. And he's going to talk with us today about Moringa powder. Karl, so glad that you are here with us. Are you able to join us in the room? All right, there you are. How are you today? You're looking great there, King. It must be all that Moringa powder.
Always, without a doubt. Hey, yes. I got to set the example.
I'm
How's
excited.
Everyone today?
We're doing great over here at the podcast. I'm excited to talk to you about this powder because I want to share with you what's been happening in my own life. So I'm like a kid in kindergarten right now. So I'm so excited to have you here. But Karl, before we start talking about Moringa powder and your journey, because it was a journey, tell the folks a little bit about yourself, because you are quite eclectic and very much accomplished in many areas. And I know that your training as an herbalist has been over several decades. So let the folks know who you are.
Sure. I like to begin by first saying, giving thanks to Ms. Carmelita Turner. She's a wonderful host, brilliant podcast person, color person. Voice is very clear and beautiful, and you guys are blessed to have somebody lead you in this regard, and you'll get a lot of having her as your podcast leader.
I love you for that. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And so I'd like to start by saying that, again, my name is Karl Grant. I've been a herbalist for roughly 23 years. And in these 23 years, it was a journey. as they always say, it's not about the end point, it's about the journey you go through. And that's where you gain your real knowledge and your experience and your perspective in life. And I have developed a relationship and connection with plants over these 23 years. It started roughly when I was in graduate school. Well, actually, I'm going to go back further than that. And I'll be brief with it. As a child, we had this aloe vera plant in front of our house, and I'm playing in front of the plant and everything. As a kid, you cut yourself and, you play rough, particularly boys and everything. You cut yourself and that kind of thing. And I realized that this plant, I used to play with it all the time. And when I finally, roughed myself up, as most kids do, um, I heard an adult mention, hey, you use that aloe vera gel, then it'll heal your cuts. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna try that because I need to patch myself up and get right back out there in the street, play football, whatever, ride bikes, whatever I gotta do. And so that's what I did. And then I realized, sure enough, the cut healed. And from there, I was in awe. I said, this is like magic to me. You mean to tell me you can just grab one of God's resources? I don't have to go to the store to pay for this. I can just grab a plant, rub the, cut it open, put the paste on the cut, and then it heals up within less than a day. Oh, man.
Talk about a revelation, right?
Yeah, it's a revelation. And from there, my affinity and dreaming about plants developed. And they often say, they say roughly around 7 years old, kids have dreams. They dream, they're a dreamer. They blurt out, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a doctor, lawyer, whatever. And often, sometimes adults kill your dreams. They're the ones who kill them. Oh, you can't be that. You're not this. You're not that. I didn't particularly experience that, but I had a reawakening. I came back as an adult at that experience playing in front of my house with the aloe vera plants growing there in graduate school. And then in graduate school, taking health courses and things like that, I understood that I need to revisit and get back to my childhood even more and start to develop my herbalism practice and things of this sort. And
was there any one thing that made you feel that way? That's an interesting thing because you're in graduate school now, which is several years beyond being that 7-year-old playing football in the street. Was there some incident that occurred in grad school, or what was it, do you feel, that brought you back to that childhood experience?
Certainly. Studying public health made me understand, taking public health courses made me certainly understand that we need to bring natural health back to the people. There's a lot of confusion out there. We got coronavirus out there now and all these, nasty diseases and epidemics people often deal with. And we need to go back to nature. And going back a little, I also, my journey in herbalism, I revisited the practice long before graduate school, or or 5 years ago before graduate school. But in graduate school, I finally had the epiphany that I need to really put this into practice and deliver this to people, to the community, particularly African American community or people of African descent. They need to understand that you don't need to you don't always have to go to the doctor for every little thing that happens to you. We need to also start the key thing we need to start to think about preventative measures and taking care of health and bodies, and not wait till we get sick and then go to the doctor. We need to practice as the ancients did, particularly back home in Africa, as they use preventative measures. They use medicine as plants and things like that as their daily food.
Yes,
so
they did.
In graduate school, I understood that I want to again put this in practice and move forward with this and simply deliver my skills and expertise to the community out there.
And Karl, I love that, I don't mean to put all your business out there, but when I was prepared for the podcast, I was reading your mission, like just your overall objective. And you said to reach a wide domestic and global Black audience for the purpose of healing their bodies naturally through herbal products, natural food, spiritual, cultural means, like that just moved me, because I'm sitting here taking notes. I'm a note taker, and you just said we have to bring natural health back to the people. And so I don't think folks understand how accomplished you are, because what tell them what your degrees are in.
Well, I actually have a degree. I have a master's in public administration. However, with that degree in master of public administration, you can branch that off and have a concentration in different areas. And mine was particular public health.
So you probably see firsthand the statistics and the data that probably, not probably, I am sure, strengthen your resolve in bringing natural health back to the people, especially for those of us of color who originated from people whose practices were of nature, God's creation. So I love that part of your journey, that, those awakening moments, right? That's what they become, those awakening moments. So was there something special that you started doing as you became Karl the herbalist?
Certainly. Let me again mention one point, going back briefly, if I may, about graduate school. So I wrote this big paper on, and I did interviews on basically Black folks and public health, how to improve their health. And I understood that they didn't understand from the survey I did the basic protocols of natural health and healing. And in particular, I asked them, did you ever heard about the plant Moringa? Have you ever heard of it? They had no clue on what, every participant that survey had no clue on what Moringa was. So that told me, and by the way, the reason I chose Moringa is because being an herbalist over 23 years, I understood that out of all these different herbs I'm studying, black seed plant and, ashwagandha and all these different exotic herbs and that kind of thing, Moringa is special to me because it contains 92 vitamins and minerals and 46 antioxidants, over 18 anti-inflammatories.
Whoa, wait a minute. Say those numbers again. 92.
You heard it.
That's
vitamins
92
and minerals. Vitamins and minerals.
That's a heaping lot. That's really a lot. And then how many
God's gift.
How many
46.
antioxidants? That's 46. Crazy, Karl.
Amazing, isn't it? 46. And so I realized this, and people don't know about this sacred, majestic plant that grows all throughout West Africa, throughout many parts of Africa in general, India, Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, all these places, Philippines.
Is there one origin? Is there an original origin of Moringa? And I know I've asked you this before. Is there an original origin of Moringa, the plant itself? Because and the reason I say this, and I know you hear this all the time, a lot of people accredit or say, oh, it originated, Asian practices of hundreds of thousands of years ago. Can you kind of clear that up in my mind about this miracle plant?
Sure, great question. So, and this is one of the, I wouldn't say controversies, or one of the things that disturbed me when I wrote the book on Moringa. And we'll talk about that later. We'll get to that later. However, there's different species of Moringa. There's like over roughly 18 species, or maybe, 13 to 18, maybe 20. The most popular is Moringa oleifera. Okay. Now look here. There's the most second popular species is Moringa stenopatella. That is the African variety of Moringa. Moringa oleifera, the most popular Moringa that people consume, also resides in Africa as well. So we have to, although the research has not concluded, I come to my own conclusion with logic. All things start in Africa. The Moringa stenopatella that I mentioned earlier, the second most popular Moringa species, originated, and these are facts, originated in Kenya, Ethiopia, Sudan, that whole region. Okay. Now, and that is widely used as well, because again, it's the second most popular um, species of moringa. But the Moringa oleifera, it is said to originate in the Himalaya sections of India. It is said. However, Africans populated India and brought valuable resources in their migration from the beginning of time. You know, Africans were travelers and roamers. They very well could have brought the Moringa oleifera plant, which is the number one species, again, most popular one, to the continent of India. Or, slash, it could, meaning that it very well could have originated in Africa. If I was a betting man, I would say the Moringa oleifera plant originated in Africa, or Moringa period originated in Africa.
And I wanted to really ask you that question because we know that not only has our continent been co-opted, but so has our history. And so I want people to not only hear from Black producers like yourself, Black business owners who are out here, you know, really not only, it's not just about the fact that you're making the product available for people, but what I love about you, Karl, is that you're educating us. I know you've educated me. I was searching. I was searching too, because, you know, the one thing, it's almost as though, and I don't even have a good analogy for it, but it's almost as if I felt, and I have wonderful parents. My mother is still here earthly with us, so I'm blessed in that aspect. But I think just being a Black woman on this globe, I've always felt like, you know, an adopted child searching for something that she was disconnected from. And again, I have a loving family and wonderful people, but there was always something, right? There was always, you know, and I know you and I have talked about this and my health struggles, and I've always had very sensitive reactions to certain foods even. And, you know, and I was always searching for just the right combination. Like, well, why is it that this doesn't, you know, resonate well with my body, but you know, there were just, and I was always trying to read something or figure out something, or eat right for your type, or just trying to figure it out, not realizing all this time I just wanted to return to what in my DNA, you know, was my origination, if for lack of a better word. And I know you understand what I'm sharing. And so this is why I wanted to have you come on and talk about moringa powder and the benefits of the powder itself, because it's bigger. It's bigger than just the benefits of the powder, right? This isn't snake oil. We're not out here saying, hey, this is gonna, you know, fix your stubbed toe and get rid of your bunions and do, like, right? That's not what it's about. It's really, it's so much bigger than that. Am I making sense, Karl?
You're making a million times sense. Look here, audience, everyone around the world. Moringa is your savior. I want to introduce to you a couple of concepts or points. One of the most famous botanists in the world and authoritators on moringa went by the name of Mr. Kweku Ando of Ghana. Famous botanist here. He world famous, won all kind of awards in Africa, Europe, whatever, for his studies and things like that. He held a garden in San Francisco, a sacred herbal garden. And he often talked about moringa, and he said that moringa is the savior for African Americans. He understood our plight here in this country. He actually, he really understood our plight, because he actually did some time here in Florida. They locked him up for some silly stuff. And then he understood, and that really clicked with him. Not that he really didn't understand before, but it really clicked with him what we go through.
And when you say our plight, let me just be clear, because on the podcast last week, Karl, I talked about food deserts. So our plight being so many things, not just stressors of living in America and being Black, but stressors of food deserts, availability, depending on your zip code, of, you know, fresh options, food, open air food markets, growing our own food. Are these some of the challenges that you're mentioning?
Yeah, he understood our challenges nutrition wise. This is why he said that Moringa is a savior for Black folks around in the United States and across the world. He also said that, in cases of diabetes, cancer, high blood pressure, rheumatoid arthritis, what have you, Moringa is your answer, because Moringa has been used in over 300 applications in Ayurvedic medicine, by the way, in the sacred texts and books of Ayurvedic medicine to heal diseases. All right. So this is why Kwaku Andu said it is essential for the African American to consume Moringa. Why? Because we mentioned that it includes 92 vitamins and minerals, 46 antioxidants, 18 anti-inflammatories, 7 times of vitamin C is oranges. Roughly 4 times the potassium in all these other fruits and vegetables. You have roughly 25 times the iron in spinach. Okay, this is what moringa contains, and iron is crucial, as the great late Dr. Sebi mentioned. Iron is a spark plug for the human body and the immune system. If you're lacking in iron, then your energy fails, everything else fails.
Facts.
Particularly with women
Absolute
with
facts.
blood loss, you need iron is the key.
Karl, I'm just gonna jump in and share. So I've been using my powder I was so excited when I opened my box. I've been using it for 3 days, okay? And I'm a simple person, so I've been putting it in my smoothie. 3 days, right? Let me tell you what has happened to me, brother. My energy level is unbelievable. I struggle, and this is Karl is kind of like my Virgo brother from another mother. So how we are as Virgos, right? Our brains will not leave us alone, right? So I do let me correct myself. I used to struggle with issues of turning off my brain and falling asleep. Do you know, for the last 3 days, my brother, my sleep has been off the chain. Like, I have been waking up refreshed, like, yo, let me go run a marathon. No, I'm not there yet. Only 3 days of Moringa. I'm not there yet. But let me tell you about my iron. I have always struggled with issues of iron, right? Being anemic, different things. And I always know when it's low based on my cravings, right? And you probably understand this, as an herbalist. When I tell you, none of that. And I, even this morning before we jumped on here, I said, wait, let me stop and think for a sec. Like, I've had none of that. Just, I'll have the smoothie. I'm very content, just drinking my water, going through my day, eat a salad or something from lunch. Like, nothing. There's nothing that I've changed. Well, no, there are a lot of other things that I have started changing. I mean, I've always, tried to go take my walk, but now my energy level to do those other pieces, I've noticed, has changed. And I'll give you one other thing, because you mentioned rheumatoid arthritis and people that suffer. You said it has 18 anti-inflammatories. So I've played softball for years, like for years and years and years. I was catcher and third base, very, very impactful positions. And then later in life as an adult, so I had suffered an injury to my right knee as a younger. But then as an adult, I re-injured that same knee. So I used to struggle, even current day, just, because it was an old injury, you just kind of walk it off, stretch it out, let it, get itself together. Listen, I noticed today, and I wrote it down. I said, wait, I said, what is going on with my knee? I wrote it in my notes, because I have not noticed. Now, again, I'm not trying to say, trust me, I'm not saying, hey, this is some overnight something. But what I am honestly saying to you, Karl, is that in these 3 days, and I don't know if it's just, I don't know, crazy, I don't know, but in these 3 days, that is what has happened to me. I'm just saying.
Wow. I believe it. But why? Because why do I believe it? Because the science is there. One thing I want to point out, moringa has been researched since started in like 1952, scientifically, by Indian doctors in India and researchers, medicalists. And since then, there are over 700 journals, medical journals, and scientific articles on moringa and its efficiency and proofs that it heals the human body.
Wow.
Carmelita, your great podcast leader, mentioned that she doesn't feel hungry all day long. Why? I'm going to address why. Because of the high density of nutrient content it contains. This is why in Africa, they use the leaves to solve malnutrition in Africa and in India. This is why. Wow. It is superior in nutrients, and I mentioned some of those. One of the reasons, it has all the amino acids. It has it contains all 9 amino acids in protein. Moringa contains by itself 2 times the amount of protein of meat. All right. Wow. So the thing is, you are taking care of all your protein needs with Moringa. Now, what does this do for the body? Well, let's look at the American diet. Typical standard American diet is a lot of fats, sugars, unnecessary carbohydrates, and that kind of thing. So this will deplete the body of its resources, strip the body of energy, because it's not coming from a natural source. And then as a result, you're going to feel hungrier and hungrier, and and what are you going to do? You're going to eat more and eat more and eat more, because your body is not being supplied with nutrients, vital nutrients. When you eat things like refined white sugar, refined white flour, overconsumption of meat, all these type of things. And when you're not getting rich green foods with that valuable plant photosynthesis and photochemicals from the God's sun, that radiates through the plants that provide the nutrients it gives and the green pigment that it gives. God is programming these plants through the sun to give the body what it needs. And that's what it gives Moringa. And so it's full of nutrients, 92 vitamins and minerals. Once again, this is why you don't feel full after consuming Moringa, because it's giving the body everything it needs. Okay, it's healing at the same time. When I was in the Gambia, they explained West Africa. I went late last year, as I mentioned briefly before, Carmelita, is that the Africans explained to me. I interviewed roughly 5 to 6 people, and they explained to me, we don't have any problem with malaria. We don't have that problem here. Despite what the news agencies will tell you, or the news outlets, because we consume Moringa. That is our solution to the malaria issue. They explained many cases they were sick, so their one sister, she had her parents or family members grind up some Moringa leaves. They took the Moringa's powder. They took the leaves in soups, and they ate the seeds. No more malaria. No issue with it.
Wow. And I've read that in preparing for this conversation, exactly what you just described about, not only just using the powder, but people that use it in soups and consume those seeds. And I can imagine the benefits, in taking that in. And if you're somewhere where you have access to this, readily, it becomes a part of your life. And I want you to, and that's a perfect example with the malaria, but you also mentioned about using the Moringa for dealing with malnutrition. What did that look like as far as the impact it had? And explain the severity of the malnutrition that it was able to abate.
Sure. The World Health Organization, the World Church Organization conducted a famous study, I think in the early 90s in Senegal, in India. Let's take a look at Senegal, for example. They applied Moringa powder in short to malnourished babies and moms and their mothers who had a lack of breast milk. Okay, Moringa is known to stimulate breast milk. That's been known for centuries. They've been using that for breast milk production for centuries.
Wow.
But let's look at the malnutrition. The babies had red hair because of malnutrition. The babies had pot bellies, as you see on, sometimes on these public
National Geographic
stations.
and all those places.
Yeah. Those stereotypical things they show. And they applied Moringa powder over, I don't know, roughly, let's see, a week or so. Within a week, the hair color changed back to black.
Wow.
The bellies went away. The skin started shining. The energy came back. They became so playful and got their normal movement back as a child. And the mother's breast milk came back in full fast after a week or so, or a couple of weeks of applying this Moringa powder. So I took the notion, I took understanding of this, and I said, we need to take this case study, Moringa, because of this case study, and apply it to people who need it the most here in the States, in the United States. And those are our African American brothers and sisters.
Amen.
We need to bring this Moringa powder to, we are highly malnourished. The World Health Church Organization needed to come here and apply that Moringa here. But guess what? I'm not asking them to do it. It's my job to do it.
You're here.
I took the notion to do it. I'm here. And now it's my mission to propagate and bring Moringa to inner city district children around this country, in DC, Baltimore, you know, Compton, Watts, everywhere, all Texas, everywhere, Virginia, New York, everywhere around this country, Chicago, Detroit, everywhere. So it is my job to propagate and make this aware to principals, administrators, leaders all over the country to supplement Moringa and for these nasty school lunches, non-nutritious school lunches that does not nourish the brain.
That doesn't nourish the brain. And you're speaking to a former principal, as you know, and I 100% approve that. And Karl and I are the East Coast, West Coast connection. I just got chills because I know, brother, that is what you're going to do. And because I know your passion for this powder, and you know, I don't talk about it. I always like to be about it. So that's why I was like, let me, you know, listen, learn, let me take the powder. And I'm so eternally grateful to you. I feel like you have connected me to what I was looking for and what I was missing. I feel like you have helped me find my way back home. And so thank you for that, because that was, I really know that my life is shifting, and it's something that seems so small, but for me it was just so huge, and I'm so grateful to you for that. And you mentioned your sojourn to Gambia. Talk about your time there a little bit.
Gambia is a special little country, the smallest country in Africa, as in the whole continent. Gambia is the smallest, but to me, it's one of the most impactful places next to Ghana and Nigeria and a few other places. It is highly impactful because the Gambia is, I would call, a starter country, a starter-up country. They are getting their back in the groove as far as getting their resources and building up their economy and trade and building their period. Why? Why do I say that? Because people of African descent around the world are recognizing this, just like I do. When I was there, I noticed that you had many brothers and sisters from the UK there. And I met and had dinner and conversations with them about our equal oppression, and they're shooting down like animals in the UK as well.
Wow.
And they're tired of it. And that's why they packed their bags, and they didn't just visit like me. They're there for good. They
living in Gambia.
Their kids, living in Gambia. They enrolled their kids there. And let's go back to the resources, though. Gambia is such a beautiful place, and it's really hard for me to describe it until you go there yourself. I was told how beautiful it was, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sure they're true. It's true. You know, I got that information from a trusted source. But when I went there, I'm like, oh man, it is. I mean, you're talking, you know, those scenes they show, the typical California or Florida lifestyle with the palm trees and the beautiful beaches and all kind of stuff. It don't compare.
Oh, wow.
It's like ice bowl compare or the Midwest plains compared to the Gambia, the beaches and the palm trees, and you have beautiful coconuts and mangoes just falling everywhere
Oh
on the
my
streets.
goodness.
You have it's the beaches are so clean and pure and pristine, and the African sun that shimmies off the water
Oh
is
wow.
and it's the hospitality there. The Gambian people, they call the Gambia the smiling coast of Africa. Why? Because they have the reputation of having some of the most hospitable, kind people there, and this is what I experienced. They told me, "Brother, you are home. Welcome home."
Wow. Oh my
From the
goodness.
TSA agents at the airport, as soon as I came in, to police officers all around. Now imagine a police officer telling you welcome home.
Yeah.
I have to worry once about getting clubbed upside the head by the police or shot
Wow.
for mismanagement. None of that kind of stuff. I was in total peace.
Mm.
And seeing the beautiful school children every day coming out of school and all wearing their same uniforms and walking in packs and it is a beautiful place. The food is the fruit, the fruit and vegetables. Hey, look, just eat the fruit and vegetables there. That'll start to heal yourself. You will drop
Wow.
weight. Your and the heat will bring out the toxins in your pores in your skin. Your skin will be glossing. It is such a beautiful place, and
Wow.
people have the Gambia has a lot to offer for business and growth. This is why you will see more and more African Americans flocking there to visit and live and creating
Mm.
business opportunities. And when I went there, I investigated Moringa farms in the Gambia. I was um, invited and hooked up pretty much. I was expected with my visit to meet with a moringa farmer, and I did, and it was magnificent. And I investigated even further the moringa tree and its growth and how things are done in West Africa. It's a spiritual thing. They don't just plop the seeds in the ground and let it grow.
Right.
They
Mm-hmm.
communicate and talk with the tree. And
Mm.
I was told certain secrets, and I have to hold my honor to my brother Kajali, never to tell. There's a secret that you tell the plant when
Oh.
you when it's growing, and this is what I want to. I do want to share this to you, and I can share this in brief. That when I sell my moringa powder, um, it's not a crank in, crank out factory like the most commonplace. You have to spiritually program your plant. And this is what Kajali was talking about.
Okay.
Besides the secrets he told me, I will tell you that I spiritually program my plants, and that's through
Mm.
communication, through a relationship. You talk to your plant because why? Africans have been talking to plants for time immemorial, forever. And back to the ancient Egyptians, there's communication with plants. There has been scientific proof done in Germany that when you communicate with a plant, it can either thrive or die. They did an
Mm.
experiment where they play pleasant music to a plant, then it grows and it's the most nutritious. And if you play like horror movies around it, bad
Right.
music,
Right.
cursing around the plant, the plant begin to wither and die.
Wow. Yeah.
So this is
I
why
know
before you
that's
get
true.
Moringa, I
Yeah.
program it. Yeah, I program my
I
plant.
love that. And my mom and sister have the green thumbs in this family. But I remember my mother talking to the plants when I was little. She would talk to the plants. Like, I'm like, are you having a conversation? But like, just kind of, I mean, and I'm gonna ask my mother too, and I know she's listened to this podcast. Like, I wonder, was that something she did because she saw her mother do it? Right? Like, I don't know. And in my mind, when you started talking about talking to plants, I don't find it odd at all because I've watched my mom do it. So now, even though I'm not as good with the plants as they are, I talk to the plant. I'll say, "Oh, come on now, let me, make me look halfway like a superstar. Let's fight this thing out together, right?" Because to me, that wasn't odd because I saw my mother doing it. I'm gonna ask her, what was it that made her know to talk to plants. And the reason I'm saying this, Karl, is because again, my superpower, how all things lead back to dirt, right? All
Mm-hmm.
things are real estate
Mm-hmm.
related. When you were in Gambia and Kajali was sharing
Mm-hmm.
the secrets with you and things of that nature, I firmly believe that there are things that we do that we think we don't know why we're doing them, but they're part of who we are.
Right.
They're in our DNA. Like, we're doing them because it's part of where we originated from. I believe that wholeheartedly. I do.
Sister, you just said it. You gave the, hey, look, your mom, you just gave the valuable answer, the $1 million question. It's inert, it's innate with us that your mom speaking, that's, we've been doing that just in us. That's something that we're inspired by God to naturally do and understand. Because again, it's about that relationship. When you love somebody, you want to speak sweet nothings to them. Hey, baby, or whatever, I love
Very
you. Or
true.
hey, child, I love you. I want to do this for you. You're beautiful in this way. And you do this for me. You do that for me. And so this is what I do with plants. I
Wow.
explain to them, part of what I do is I explain to them their mission to heal. You said, you promised that scientifically you heal and you do this. I would like for you, please, plant, powered by God, to heal the African American, to heal people of African descent. It is your duty and responsibility. You have so much protein to offer. You have so much and so many anti-inflammatories to offer, so many vitamins and minerals and nutrients to offer, and antioxidants, 46 of them.
Mm,
Heal the African American and people of African descent and people worldwide, because this is your mission and your job.
mm.
This is
That
part of
is,
what I tell. I tell
listen,
every powder, every bag of powder.
that is the most, I almost cried because that is the most giving thing, that I mean, and tell people what the word moringa means.
Well, Moringa is basically it comes from a Spanish term, um, and the Moringa they call it. Well, let's put it this way. It's I can tell you explain to you this way. Moringa has been in Tagalog language. It's called malunggay or malunggay, and it's the word Moringa though originates in a Spanish. It comes from a Spanish term. I forget the exact name of it, but at any rate, it translates to the word Moringa, and it means tree of life. Uh, in India, they call it, or America, they call it drumstick tree. Um, India, they have a lot of sacred words for it.
I
In
definitely think
Africa,
it's
they
the
call it
tree of life.
yeah,
Nab- Nabetye.
Nabedye in West Africa. And most West African languages, they commonly refer to as Nabedye. And it means the never die tree. Why do they call it the never die tree? Because it's drought resistant. It's hard to
What?
get rid of. It can grow in 100+ degree temperatures and still grow and thrive with no water or very little water. Very
Because
little.
our higher power doesn't want to give us dominion over it. It's never going to go away because it's the tree of life and we need it. And
Life.
so thank you to the higher
Yes.
powers. I mean,
Why we need it.
yeah, like this whole, yeah, I listen, you already have a fan in me. So that's
Oh,
why I was just so excited to
oh,
have you come on the Realest Realtor podcast, because I mean, I just bring the real facts. But again, you know, everything in life does, and I know people think this is so weird how my brain works, but I do know that everything does come back to that real estate. It does come back to that dirt, owning dirt that you can work, right? Being able to, partake, myself being a prime example, from the tree of life, moringa powder that was blessed and instructed, specifically, I'm going to say specifically for me, but it's for you all too. But like, that is so important. Now, did the farmers there, were they large farms? Did they need large spaces to do this? I don't know how much space is required.
mhm. Yeah. So the particular farm that I went to, they grew other stuff. They actually had, cattle there as well, cows and what have you, and things like that. Um, Many other fruits and vegetables. Now, when it comes to moringa, they had a big parcel of land for that. It looked like, I don't know, looked like at least an acre. They had it in a couple of different spots, but the main parcel of land I went to, it was a big, huge area, and they called it their little nursing farm, but it was huge, huge
Okay.
area. And so you do need a lot of space if you want to be efficient with it, and let it grow to its maximum, which is around 20 to 24 to 30 feet as a tree. You can take the seeds and put in a little pot yourself and stick in front of your window and let it grow
Okay.
um, as a plant. But yeah, you do need a large space if you're serious with it, like as they were, and they had a big production factory and plant. They just when the tree grows to their maximum uh, nourishment and height, then they go ahead and process the leaves and the seeds.
Gotcha.
And so many things are useful for moringa. It's not just the leaves; it's the seeds, it's the pods which contains the seeds. So
Wow.
they have pods drooping down from the branches, which contains a very potent and powerful moringa seeds that's needed, and that's what the Africans also use to heal them of diabetes as well. The
Wow.
moringa seed is so potent and powerful. Let me tell you something. When anyone who has consumed moringa seeds will tell you, if you take the seed and you eat it, you drink water behind it will taste like somebody spiked your drink with your water with a ton of sugar. Not a ton,
What?
but it's sweet. It's very sweet,
Interesting.
but sweet and that doesn't harm you at all. Obviously, it's not a sugar.
Wow. Wow.
It's just naturally sweet when water is applied to it, and this is why it can clear dirty water. If you take moringa seed and sit it in a glass of dirty water, and you come back within a couple of days or a week, that water will be crystal clear.
That's amazing. That's
Imagine what it
amazing.
does in your body as a result.
Yeah, yeah, yes, exactly. And all of this research was out there, like I said, but because and I think we're seeing a time where, as we are fighting for our humanity, our
Right.
God-given right to freedom and to not be persecuted unjustly, right? As we all are seeing so many things changing on this earth on top of this coronavirus, right? This pandemic, this is why I said to myself, it is too important for me to connect information that people are number one looking for, and number two that they need. Because guess what, Karl? Like, we didn't all grow up knowing all of this because, like I said, I felt like an orphan. I felt disconnected from something. I didn't know what. Now, I happen to come from a family full of activists. So, I had older siblings and my parents who
Right.
educated me on many things. But guess what? They couldn't educate me on everything because they didn't even know everything. My parents' generation, they, they were only a couple of generations removed from slavery and sharecropping and everything else. So when you've had information, number one, taken from you, you've been taken from your dirt, you've been taken from your land, then your information has been taken, then it's been, you know, adulterated and obliterated. We need more conversations like this where folks are getting this vital information and this key. Our health is our wealth, right? I can't, I would not feel complete only saying to you folks, it is important for your financial freedom to own dirt. It's important for you to have your health while owning that dirt as well. Those things they're not mutually exclusive.
Certainly. And let's revisit just for a moment, brief, the Gambia, um, which you raised earlier. The Gambia owning that dirt. Oh, you can own some dirt in the Gambia.
Wow.
It's ripe in its prime for African Americans, people from the UK, as I mentioned earlier, uh, and all folks of African descent. You have Jamaicans there. They have people all over in the Gambia. Yeah, we've all come together as a a global African community who are creating businesses and entrepreneurship there in the Gambia. And they want your service. They want you to bring something there that'll benefit. But owning that dirt in the Gambia is crucial, and they're willing to work with you, and they're willing to build for you. We know several who have built have houses built there for them, because the houses there, you can get a beautiful, huge 2-level house or whatever, however you want it built, for around a couple $100,000.
Carl.
And that's unheard of here, particularly where I'm from, on the West Coast.
West Coast,
that ain't gonna happen. You can't even own a garage. I mean, or a closet
for that much. But you saw it for yourself in Gambia, and this. So that's my mission. So I'm glad you're going to keep me healthy, because this is the type of knowledge that I want people to know. It's, you don't only have to own where you are; you can own all over this globe, and really, really continue. And it's about just creating that sanctuary for yourself and your family. We all need to travel beyond our boundaries, and it is doable. It's so doable. And so that's on my bucket list. I told you I'm gonna have to go to Gambia, because now that I started with my Moringa powder, I'm sure I'll be in such tip-top shape I can pull out my bikini and enjoy those beaches.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it. You sip that mango juice like I did. And
I love mango.
Like a queen on the beach, and you ain't gotta worry about nothing, being looked at funny and that kind of stuff, because they're your own people. They'll tell you, they'll only look at you. Hey, look, they'll only look at you in the terms of, what tribe are you from?
I would love to know. That's the
only kind of look they're gonna give you.
I would love to know. I'm sure it must be a warrior tribe, but I would love to know.
Oh, yeah. It really is.
I would love to know. Karl, we could do this forever and ever. Folks, this has been a wonderful, wonderful interview, and it's not over, because let me tell you, Karl is nice enough. There were some questions that a lot of people had, and he is going to answer those, but that's going to be done on the YouTube channel for the after show. So I know, if you have questions, make sure that you're going over there and leaving them on the after show video, and we will make sure that they get answered if we don't answer them during the course of the video. And let me tell you what else our herbalist extraordinaire, King Karl Grant, has done. He has donated to the podcast a giveaway for everybody. Let me make sure I'm showing this. Let me get my camera straight. From his own blessed powder, Moringa Magic, which you can find at moringamagic.net. So we're going to be doing a giveaway. So let me tell you the requirements. You will definitely have to visit us on the YouTube channel. Make sure that you watch our after show, where Karl is going to answer your questions. Leave comments for Karl. His contact information will be there. I strongly encourage anybody that's been listening to this podcast or watching it on YouTube, click on his link and go get your powder now. Not only did I get the powder, I also got the toothpaste, which I love. I love my toothpaste. This is the best. I used to use Sensodyne, because I'm just sensitive. My poor body. I'm glad you get me back together, Karl. I love this toothpaste so much. I love this toothpaste. So, and let me also let folks know that Karl, he's such of a giver, such of a just an expert at his craft. He also does one-on-one consultations, because of course we want to make sure that if you have questions or serious medical concerns, that you're talking to someone like Karl before starting or delving along this journey, because everybody should feel comfortable with what. And Karl spent a great deal of time just kind of, again, that Virgo mind talking to me ahead of time, because I know I have a busy life, but so does Karl. And I just had to know, what that looked like as far as how I could infuse the powder into my life. And let me tell you, it has been so easy. I haven't missed a beat. Not at all. Have not missed a beat. So folks, Thank you for tuning into the Realest Realtor podcast. This has been awesome, Karl. Guys, make sure you head over to the YouTube channel called Carmelita, all spelled out, where Karl will be there answering questions. And you need to come over there because he's also going to talk about, yes, Karl is also an author. And he has a very intriguing book that I know for a fact you're going to want to hear about. So make sure you head over to the YouTube channel called Carmelita on YouTube, and make sure that you leave any comments there on the video. Ask Karl questions. Like I said, a lot of them he's going to answer in the video. If there are others, I will make sure that Karl is able to respond to you or connect with you in some way. The best way to connect with him is at moringamagic.net, all spelled out. So Moringa magic.net. And all of his contact information is there as well. And we will be dropping that link here on the podcast and the YouTube channel. My brother, thank you so much. This has been awesome.
Welcome. It was my pleasure and my my work of service to humanity. That's all good intention.
No truer words have ever been spoken. Folks, we leave you all in the same manner in which we came, which is in peace. And thank you for joining us each and every Wednesday here on the Realest Realtor podcast.